too.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you. Welcome to my humble abode on this All Hallows Eve. Tonight I've prepared for you a story filled
With terror!
just in time for the holiday. So kick back, relax, and enjoy a tale I like to call the tale of insurmountable intestinal damage. On a night much like this, not too far in the past, a young man decided to get off his ass. He'd been planning for days an event most unpleasant that allowed him to stand out amongst all the peasants. "I shall show them," he said, with his fist clenched above, "that I can achieve greatness when push comes to shove." But as days passed he pondered a thought 'twas most scary. If he failed in his task, 'twould not be legendary. His mind raced each night, and his fears grew with time. To let down all his peeps, a most horrible crime. "I need strength," this lad thought, as he woke to a new day, "so my friends will all know I'm as fierce as Beyonce." So he researched and read, and the time did grow near, and he summoned a plan to which he would adhere. He had done this before, but not quite as big, a food challenge which he'd consume like a pig. "I've watched Man vs. Food and eaten before. I'll just walk in and beat it and walk out the door." For this challenge, he figured, could be done in a flash. But a burger this big, it required some cash. For the business must profit from the food that they lose, whether in people's bellies or puked on their shoes. So he saved up enough for the burger to sit in his stomach, obstructing a few days of shit. And what did this contain that made one a winner? Well, it might as well have been a Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't mean just one plate, or as much as you're able. We are talking about the whole fucking Thanksgiving table. He had eaten one once, on vacation for fun, a 30-ounce burger, including the bun. He had beaten that burger, took it down in one sitting, and was not a bit worried that he wouldn't be shitting. With his face on the wall and a milkshake that followed, his win it was better than all that he'd swallowed. But this one was bigger. This burger he'd try, well, he'd have to eat 5 pounds and try not to cry. He readied his will and alerted the masses. On an upcoming Friday, they'd get off their asses. They'd follow in glee just to watch him gain weight, while he shoveled food sealing his fat ass's fate. And where should he die if his heart stopped its beat? Wagon train barbecue in old Schenectady. He awoke to the day he'd be shoving his face, and left his work early to prep for the race. He posted his threats where the whole world could see, on Instagram and all his friends' Facebook feeds. He drank pots of coffee and a whole lot of water to stretch out his stomach for foods soaked in butter. And 2 English muffins were all he'd consume, but just hours before his impending food doom. His girlfriend arrived after all day at work to drive him and watch him eat food like a jerk. One by one they arrived, his friends by his side, to root and to cheer while he swallowed his pride. There was Matt and Melissa, Rochelle and Kurt too, Hillary, John, and Matt, a cool dude. A girl from his high school whom he'd not spoke, sat by with her beau, probably hoping he'd choke. The waitress arrived, and their order she took. Though the challenge was prepping, they forewarned the cook. A glimpse he had caught of the burger and back, and he feared that he may have a real heart attack. Back to the table he sat with a thud, ready to become this mass-eating chud. The waitress came over, arms growing quite wary. He realized he just might be screwed. It was scary. He dove in ferocious and ready to eat, and this burger, though big, was a most tasty treat. That's when it dawned on him, starting this session, that all he'd be earning here was a life lesson. A lesson that pulled pork and brisket would teach, and mac and cheese, coleslaw, 8 ounces of each. He'd plunder through bacon, 2 fried eggs and cheese, 8 slices in all to bring him to his knees. A 1-pound hamburger that's really not bad, but a bun that was huge, like the size of my dad. Deep-fried jalapenos, onion straws just because. And he'd have to keep going to prove what he was. 2 more pounds or so of fried onions and fries, enough to make normal men bleed from their eyes. And all this concoction, though balls hard to rhyme, must slide down his gullet in a half-hour's time. So he plowed through the proteins and did it quite quick, and that's when he started to feel awfully sick. He rested and breathed while his time would diminish. Melissa said loudly, "No way that he'll finish." But he needed support, not Melissa's mean sass. So he turned with his mouth full and said, "Kiss my ass." The restaurant was hushed, everybody in awe, overwhelmed by all the consumption they saw. And that's when it happened, the mighty food wall, when all of a sudden, his will it did fall. With 9 minutes left, his strength it did waver. But our subject he did everyone there a favor. For the food it did rise up his throat to the top, and he surely would boot if his eating did not stop. So the scariest part of this horrific tale is he threw in the towel, a huge epic fail. But with 5.5 pounds he choked 4.3 down, and the restaurant, though sad, sort of gave him a crown. Out of all those who lost, like 175, he'd finished the most, and he walked out alive. On the ride home he farted, his left arm went numb, and that's when he realized his food quest was done. So in no more food challenges would our hero partake, and he washed down his heart attack with a thick-ass milkshake. Happy Halloween.